Well, lads, what's the crack, and welcome to today's Champions League predictions for round 6. Looking at how we did then in the predictions against AA for round 5. It finished 10-7 in favour of yours truly. Only one correct prediction between both of us, and that was me predicting Atletico Madrid 2, Inter Milan 1, and these are the final matches of the Champions League in 2025. What an insane year it's been in Europe for the Champions League, and hopefully 2026 proves to be even more insane. But hopefully it rounds off with a couple of brilliant fixtures, which of course we already have in front of us, and of course hopefully it does end off with a couple fantastic matches as well. So as always, lads, before we do get into this video, remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, share this as many people as possible, leave a comment as well. I really love all the engagement you give me, lads, and I really love all the support you show me as well. And so then, lads, let's get into this Champions League predictions for round 6, competing against AA. Starting off then in Kazakhstan for the early kickoff on Tuesday night, as Kairat Almaty are welcoming Olympiacos here in this one. Olympiacos last time out would lose 4-3 at home to Real Madrid, thanks to 4 goals, I do believe it was, from Kylian Mbappe. He scored a hat-trick within 7 minutes anyway, and I mean, simply there's just no competing with that, obviously. But still, I think Olympiacos showed a lot of fight, a lot of courage to only lose that game by 1 goal, to score 3 goals against Real Madrid too. And I mean, Kairat Almaty on the other hand would lose 3-2 away to Copenhagen last time out. They were 3-0 down, however, 2 late goals, including one by the new Kazakh wonder kid who is set for a move to Chelsea soon, in Satpayev as well. So I'll be interested to see what sort of impact Satpayev has in this one. But in my opinion, Olympiacos did prove against Real Madrid they're capable of competing against any team, and in my opinion, coming into this one, their quality is just much better than Kairat Almaty's, and so I'm going to go for a big 3-1 victory for Olympiacos here, as they really stamp authority in Kazakhstan away from home. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me, however, is going to go for a more comfortable 3-0 victory for the Greeks. Next then we go to the Allianz Arena as Bayern Munich are welcoming Sporting Club de Portugal here. Bayern Munich last time in the Champions League. The cracks finally did show after a flawless season leading up to the match of the Emirates. It was a 3-1 defeat away against Arsenal last time, a match which they were second best, and a match which they were very poor defensively in. And even though players like Leonard Carl are still looking fantastic, of course, and their forward line as a whole is brilliant too, it still wasn't a good performance whatsoever. However, they have picked themselves up big time domestically. Last time in the Bundesliga would destroy Stuttgart 5-0 away from home too. So coming into this one, especially on home turf, back in good form, Sporting, yes, I know they've been very good recently in the Champions League, and last time they would defeat Club Brugge, a very good Club Brugge side, at that 3-0 on home turf. However, I do believe this challenge here, away in Germany, away in Bavaria, is going to be too big for Sporting to handle, and so I'm going to go for a pretty comfortable 3-1 victory for Bayern Munich here, as they reinstate a bit of authority back in the Champions League after their embarrassment in North London 2 weeks prior. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me on that prediction. 3-1 to Bayern Munich it also goes for. Next then we go to Bergamo in Italy as Atalanta are welcoming the Blues Chelsea here in this one. Chelsea, after an amazing couple of matches in a row, they're now falling down big time. There are now 3 matches without a win. Last time in the Premier League was a 0-0 draw away against Bournemouth. Before that it was a 3-1 defeat away against Leeds too. And so at the minute, like, it is not looking good for Chelsea, even though they're getting some players back from injury. However, even then, Liam Delap looks like he'll be back out injured already. So, you know, things definitely, there's definitely uncertainty around Chelsea at the minute. Atalanta, of course, are remaining consistent. Last time in the Champions League, got a massive 3-0 scalp away against Frankfurt in Germany, which was a fantastic 3 points there for Juric's side. And in my opinion, Atalanta are coming into this game in good form, and with Chelsea coming into it in poor form as well, I do believe Atalanta are good for a point here. I want to say Atalanta will hold Chelsea to a goalless 0-0 draw. Chelsea's second 0-0 draw in a row. It's going to be a 4th straight game without win for Chelsea, as Atalanta will be the better team. They'll defend superbly. Chelsea will be very poor going forward, and they will not deserve anything more than 0-0 draw here in Italy. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me on the fact that it's going to finish a draw, however, believes it's going to finish 1-1. Next, then we go to the Spotify Camp Nou as FC Barcelona are welcoming Eintracht Frankfurt in the first game in the Champions League back at the new camp. Now, of course, it is not finished, but still, matches are being played in the new camp, and of course, it is brilliant to see, obviously. Even though it looks pretty much the exact same as it was when it was originally knocked down, it still is brilliant to have football back being played. One of the wonders of world football, of course. And I mean, Frankfurt, of course, last time they played in the new camp, they got some serious joy. They defeated Barcelona 3-2 in the Europa League quarterfinals, a match which seen over 20,000 Frankfurt fans, even trapped Barcelona fans in the ground to wait till the full-time whistle too. That was insane stuff, lads. I still remember that. That was absolutely insane. But here in this one, obviously, two teams are completely different. Frankfurt have sort of fallen off a cliff. Last time, the Bundesliga, they were annihilated 6-0 away against RB Leipzig. Meanwhile, for Barcelona, of course, they're getting a couple of wins here and there. They defeated Real Betis 5-3 away from home actually last time. So, you know, both these teams, always plenty of goals in any games they play in, of course. So, it'd be foolish to say this game is not going to be high scoring. Of course it is. However, Barcelona are much better than Frankfurt, and they can definitely tear this Frankfurt defence apart. I'm going to go for a big 5-2 victory for Barcelona come the final whistle here. Frankfurt are always still good for a goal or two. Barcelona can still have a bit of a leaky defence too. However, I'm going to say Barca will be far too good here in this one. Their goals will definitely show, and I'll get a big 3 points in the well-deserved victory. The first win of the Champions League, back at the new camp, and it will come against the Germans, Frankfurt here. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a more conservative 3-1 victory for the home side. Next time, we're going to go to Milan in Italy for a big match here. As Inter Milan are welcoming Liverpool here in this one. And now Liverpool, of course, things are just going from bad to worse to even worse, to the pinnacle of worseness for Arne Slot's side, because not only have they only picked up 2 points from a possible 6 in their last 2 matches against newly promoted sides, Sunderland have finished in 1-1 on home turf, their match which they probably should have lost to if Wilson Isidore finished his late chance. And as well as that, then bottling a 2-0 and 3-2 lead away against Leeds to draw 3-3 there. And on top of all that now, Mohamed Salah is now calling out Arne Slot, and it's looking like he may never play for Liverpool again, of course. You know, it's insane stuff, lads. It's absolutely insane. I mean, I'm personally loving seeing it. However, it is insane stuff. They're in absolute turmoil at the minute. Inter Milan, yes, would lose 2-1 away to Atletico Madrid last time, but they're going to be licking their lips coming into this one against the Liverpool side, who are currently completely divided up, completely out of form too. It's going to be embarrassing here. It's not going to be a thrashing. It's going to be a comfortable 2-0 victory for Inter Milan from the final whistle here. However, it's going to be complete and utter domination from the Italians here, as it's going to be an embarrassing display for Liverpool and Arne Slot's Reds here in Milan. Meanwhile, ChatGPT does believe Liverpool are good enough for a 1-1 draw here. However, I'm going to have to disagree there, obviously. Next time we go to AS Monaco against Galatasaray here. The Turks travelling to France, obviously. Monaco, an interesting side. The only victory they've got in their past 5 matches came in a 1-0 victory at home to PSG. Meanwhile, their last Champions League match, they drew 2-2 away to Pafos as well from Cyprus. So at the minute, like, they're a very unpredictable side, Monaco, but there is no doubt whatsoever there is quality in there, of course, and the possibility of players like Paul Pogba playing in this one too will be interesting. And Galatasaray, they have sort of slipped up a wee bit. Last time in the Champions League, it was a 1-0 defeat at home to Union Saint-Gilloise as well. So there still is cracks definitely in the Turkish Giants, obviously. And here in this one, like, I think Galatasaray could be seen as slight favourites, but they're away from home here. Monaco are not an easy side to play against whatsoever, and I'm confident, lads, that Monaco can actually get something from this one. I'm going to say it finishes a 1-1 draw from the final whistle here. Galatasaray will drop yet more points here in Europe, but Monaco will be very well deserving of a point and a very well fought 1-1 draw from the final whistle here. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a 2-1 victory for the home side, Monaco. Next time we go to the Netherlands, as PSV Eindhoven are welcoming Atletico Madrid here in this one. And now, lads, this is a very interesting match here at the Philips Stadion. Of course, Atletico Madrid may be seen as favourites, obviously. However, last time they would lose 1-0 away to Athletic Club there just recently in La Liga, so that definitely could put them slightly off form. And in my opinion, this PSV team is just superb, of course. They're winning games left, right and centre. Last time in the Champions League, destroyed Liverpool at Anfield 4-1-2, which is probably one of the biggest results in recent history anyway. And at the minute, of course, the players like Gust Hill, Saibari as well. I think it's Sheeran maybe in midfield too, shooting. They've got a good midfield there. There are plenty of quality going forward too. And in my opinion, lads, are PSV capable of winning this one? 100% they are. And do I believe they're going to win this one? You know what, lads? Screw it. I'm going to say it to do. I'm going to say PSV continues their form with yet another victory, as they're going to defeat Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid side 2-0 come the final whistle, and a stunning victory here as they go back-to-back in the Champions League in the winning matches as underdogs, obviously, as PSV continue to show the world that they're not a side to be reckoned with whatsoever. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a 2-1 victory for the West side, believing Simeone said are good enough for 3 points. Next then we go to North London as Tottenham Hotspur are welcoming Slavia Prague here in this one. Tottenham has been a bit of a shaky past few weeks, however, stability and maybe, more smoothness in terms of their run could be gained after their 2-0 victory at home to Brentford last time in the Premier League. And Slavia Prague still, yes, they've been good domestically, but still in the Champions League are struggling. Last time it was a 0-0 draw, I believe, at home to Athletic Club there. So, yeah, I'm not too sure this one is going to go. I do suspect Spurs will win this one after their eventful 5-3 defeat away to PSG last time in the Champions League too. And so it will be interesting to see what sort of scoreline it's going to be. However, you know what, lads, I'm going to say after that Brentford victory, that this Spurs team is going to be full of confidence, and I believe eventually we're going to see the Spurs team have a big victory here in the Champions League, and I do believe it's going to come here, lads. I'm going to say Spurs will score goals galore here in this one, and we'll get a big 4-1 victory come the final whistle. They've already got a 4-0 victory against Copenhagen, I'm just remembering, but they're going to get a 4-1 victory here at home to Slavia Prague, as Thomas Frank said, go back-to-back wins in all competitions as they continue to improve game after game. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for another comfortable Spurs victory, opting for a 3-0 margin. And finishing off Tuesday night then in Belgium as Union Saint-Gilloise are welcoming Marseille here. The French side obviously still in good form. Last time in the Champions League, a 2-1 victory at home to Newcastle, which was a brilliant result there at the Velodrome, albeit helped by the absolute stupidity of Nick Pope, obviously, but still, and Aubameyang Brace there. Still got a very good forward line, obviously, but Union Saint-Gilloise did prove against Galatasaray with their victory in Istanbul that they're not a side to be reckoned with whatsoever either. So I believe this one will be a very tight match. I think the Belgian side are well capable of getting a result here. However, I'm going to back Marseille to get a narrow 2-1 victory. They've got enough quality there in the forward line, and I believe that is going to get the French side through and pull them big 3 points yet again here in the Champions League. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a 1-1 draw, believing the Belgians can continue their good form and get yet another brilliant result here in Europe. And now we go to Wednesday night and we start off in Azerbaijan as Qarabag are welcoming Ajax here. Now, oh my word, Ajax, is it ever going to improve? Well, this game is going to prove whether it's going to improve here in the Champions League. 5 straight losses so far in Europe. A loss here will pretty much guarantee their exit from Europe early on this season as well. It's been a complete car crash of a campaign, lads. There's just no quality on that side whatsoever. And Qarabag have actually been pretty good. They've got 2 victories already in the first 5 matches. They even got a draw at home to Chelsea as well. So Qarabag coming into this one are in much better form in terms of their Champions League form anyway. And so here in this one, do I believe they're going to get their 3rd victory against this current Ajax team? I do believe that's going to happen here. I'm going to say it's going to be a narrow 1-0 victory for Qarabag from the final whistle. A penalty will win the Azerbaijani side the match here. It's going to be their 3rd win and in the store campaign here in the Champions League. Meanwhile, for Ajax, they will be the first side for sure who'll be knocked out of the Champions League this season, going 6 defeats in a row in Europe, continuing to embarrass themselves all across the continent. Meanwhile, ChatGPT, however, somehow is so confident in Ajax week in, week out. It's going for a massive 4-0 victory for the Dutch side, as they believe the Dutch Giants are going to really click on the form and get a massive result out of nowhere here. Next time we go to Spain as Villarreal are welcoming FC Copenhagen here. Villarreal still doing alright so far, albeit last time in the Champions League would get destroyed 4-0 away to Borussia Dortmund, of course, but still they have got a good squad in there. Copenhagen would defeat Almaty narrowly 3-2 last time. So I do believe this one will be tight. However, Villarreal, in my opinion, there's more experience, there's more quality on their side too, and that ultimately will pull the Yellow Submarine through to big 3 points. I'm going to go for a big, narrow, but big 2-1 victory for Villarreal come the final whistle, and I think their quality definitely will shine through here in Spain. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a more comfortable 2-0 victory, but even the Yellow Submarine will also get all 3 points here. Next, let me go to Next time we go to the north of Spain to the San Mamés as Athletic Club are welcoming PSG here in this one. A big match for the Spanish Giants, of course, the Basque Giants, after their big 1-0 victory at home to Atletico Madrid over the weekend too. So that definitely is going to raise confidence, especially with plenty of key players being injured for PSG coming into this one too, of course. And PSG have had a couple shaky results here and there as well. However, PSG still, there's enough quality on that side to defeat an Athletic Club side who, let's face it, have had a very poor campaign here in the Champions League this season. So I'm going to go for a pretty comfortable 2-0 victory away from home here, as Luis Enrique said will get the job done. It won't be the prettiest of jobs, however, it will get 3 points on the board nonetheless here. And that as a result, ChatGPT is going to agree with me on 2-0 for the US side come the final whistle. And now we go to Germany next, as Bayer Leverkusen are welcoming Newcastle United here in this one. Newcastle last time, obviously in the Champions League, lost 2-1 away to Marseille thanks to the goalkeeping woes of Nick Pope and the stupidity of Nick Pope as well. However, coming into this one, Pope is injured, Aaron Ramsdale is in nets, and so far I believe Ramsdale has looked better in nets and more safe than Nick Pope anyway this season. Last time Newcastle will get a narrow 2-1 victory at home to Burnley in the Premier League. Meanwhile, of course, for Leverkusen, last time in the Champions League, they got a fantastic 2-0 victory at the Etihad Stadium against Man City as well. So coming into this one, of course, there will definitely be raised confidence. Although they lost last time in the Bundesliga to Augsburg, they've got recent victories against teams like Borussia Dortmund and Wolfsburg as well. So I believe actually this one will be very entertaining. Two sides will play good football here, but Bayer Leverkusen are a very good side, not a side to be reckoned with whatsoever. And I believe they definitely can get at this Newcastle side and get a big victory, especially considering this match is in Germany. So you know what, lads, I'm going to go for a 5-goal here, but a 3-2 victory for Bayer Leverkusen come the final whistle. The home side will get the job done here. It's going to be back-to-back defeats in the Champions League here for Newcastle. The pressure will mount on Eddie Howe in terms of their progress in Europe. Meanwhile, for Bayer Leverkusen, they will continue their good form in Europe with another big 3 points against an English outfit. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a Leverkusen victory also, predicting 2-1 to the home side. And now next we go to Portugal, as Benfica are welcoming Napoli here in this one. A very interesting match. Jose Mourinho against Antonio Conte, two managerial masterminds, which definitely could make this match absolute cinema. However, there still is plenty of big players and big names missing in this Napoli side. And still Napoli, although they have been okay recently, there still is a bit of inconsistency lingering, I do believe, with the Italian outfit. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they do cope coming into this one here. But simply, I believe Benfica are in slightly better form at the minute. They've got a more fit squad overall than Napoli as well. And in my opinion, Jose Mourinho is going to just about scrape a victory against his fellow former Chelsea manager too, and Antonio Conte here. It's going to be a big 2-win victory here. There's bound to be some fiery tensions on the touchline too, but ultimately the special one will get us, say, 3 points here, and at the expense of Conte's Napoli side, as Benfica will get a big 3 points here in home turf in Portugal. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a 1-1 draw, believing both sides will be even on the night. Next, then we go to the Signal Iduna Park here, as Borussia Dortmund are welcoming Bodo Glimt from Norway here. A massive day out for Bodo Glimt. He wants a small village in Norway in the Arctic Circle who no one had heard of, and now playing in the Champions League at the Signal Iduna Park too. This is what dreams are made of for sure. So this is going to be a fantastic occasion for the Norwegian side. However, Borussia Dortmund at the minute, of course, in very good form, scored 4 goals in their last match in the Champions League against a fellow opposition who wore yellow, and this is the exact same scenario, I believe, with Bodo Glimt. I'm going to say Borussia Dortmund will not hold back whatsoever here. And although Bodo have good form on home turf and only lost last time 3-2 at home to Juventus, I do believe Bodo Glimt are going to get a hammer in here in this one. They will get a goal, however, it's going to be a big thumping 4-1 victory for Dortmund in the final whistle. Their attacking firepower is just going to be proved to be too much here for a Bodo Glimt side, whose domestic season is also rounded up as well, must I add. And so yeah, Dortmund continuing their good form with another massive victory here in the Champions League and another big 3 points on the board. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me, predicting a very comfortable 3-0 victory for the home side. Next, then we go back to Belgium, and this time it's the Gunners Arsenal travelling, and they are travelling to take on Club Brugge here in this one. Club Brugge have been a very impressive side so far, I do believe, this season in the Champions League. However, 3-0 defeat away to Sporting 2 weeks ago does prove that they still are not the finished product whatsoever. Meanwhile, for Arsenal, of course, yes, in the Champions League so far this season, they've been practically flawless, but still the cracks are beginning to shine through in the Premier League, because within their past 3 matches, they've drawn 1-1 away to 10-man Chelsea, and recently just lost 2-1 away to Aston Villa, with Emiliano Buendia winning the match with the last kick of the game, literally. So there still is a bit of cracks now shining through with Arteta's side. Gabriel's out, Saliba's out now too. There's defensive woes for sure, which could make this one very interesting. However, I do believe Arsenal are still good enough for 3 points here away in Belgium, and they're also going to keep a clean sheet as well, lads. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 victory come the final whistle. I think Arsenal are going to play pretty safe here away from home. They'll grind out 3 points. I'm not That's going to be the important thing for Arteta's side away from home. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me here. However, he's going to predict a more comfortable 2-0 victory for the travelling Gunners. Next, then we go to Turin to the Allianz Stadium as Juventus are welcoming Pafos here, and this one a big day for the Cyprians, obviously, away from home against the old lady, of course. And of course, they have been pretty good so far in the Champions League. They've got a couple of big results here and there. I think they're unbeaten in at least their past 2 matches. They've got 1 win from somewhere. They've got at least 2 or 3 draws as well. So it's going to be interesting with players such as David Luiz as well, household names in there. Playing away to Juventus here. However, this is the home of the old lady. Under Spalletti, things are finally starting to iron out and momentum is beginning to build for Juventus, and so therefore I'm going to say Juventus will cruise a very comfortable 2-0 victory from the final whistle here. Not too spectacular here on Wednesday night. However, the old lady will get the job done and will get a big 3 points pretty comfortably here in the Champions League once again. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to go for a more comfortable 3-0 victory for Juventus here. And talk about saving the best to last as we go to the Santiago Bernabeu for the final match in the Champions League of 2025 as Real Madrid are welcoming Manchester City here in this one. Oh my word, lads, this game could be absolute cinema, of course. Both sides currently involved in loads of games with lots of goals. Man City last time out in the Premier League, it was a more comfortable 3-0 victory at home to the Black Hats Sunderland there, of course. However, still, I do believe there still is a bit of defensive woes there going on. And with players such as Kylian Mbappe and Arda Güler, Vinicius Jr. as well, etc., Mastantuono as well. There still is a very good forward line for Real Madrid. Therefore, I do believe that Xabi Alonso's side is very well capable of causing damage here at the Bernabeu, especially considering they're in home turf too. However, things are still currently uncertain with Xabi Alonso's side. There still is a bit of inconsistency lingering for Los Blancos. Players such as Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, Ryan Cherky, etc., all in good form coming into this one too. I believe City could do likewise at the other end of the pitch too. So that's my opinion. This match is going to be absolute cinema. I know these two teams play each other at least once or twice every single season, so the fixture has gotten a wee bit boring anyway. However, I do believe this game is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a six-goal thriller here. However, will there be a winner? I don't think so, lads. I think both sides are going to be drawing out for a 3-3 draw from the final whistle here. It's going to be a really, really good game of football, lads. However, neither side will be good enough to take the jugular and get the victory here in this one. It's going to be a very even match. Two sides scoring plenty of goals. A very entertaining one. However, ultimately, neither side will get the victory. And ultimately, Xabi Alonso and Pep Guardiola will have to settle for a point apiece here at the Bernabeu. Very fair result, I believe it's going to be. Meanwhile, ChatGPT is going to agree with me here. However, he's going to go for a 2-2 draw in the final whistle at the Bernabeu. Anyway, lads, it's going to end today's Champions League predictions for round 6. I hope you have enjoyed it, of course. What do you think about my predictions? Are they good or are they bad? What do you change? Let me know in the comments below. As always, lads, remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, share this with as many people as possible. I really appreciate it. And of course, this is the end of my Champions League predictions for 2025. I'll see you all then for 2026. There still will be videos coming up. There still will be Europa League and Europa Conference League videos, maybe even a cheeky Europa Conference League match day vlog coming up soon in the next few days, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that, of course. However, for the Champions League predictions, thank you all so much for all the support you've shown me in 2025, and so yeah, in terms of Champions League, I'll see you all then in 2026.